Chalo.
Okay. Um, where did it go? All right. So, in this pandemic times, individuals are increasingly moving towards digital spaces in huge numbers. And with the good internet penetration in this country, internet and social media spaces have become a safe harbor for unbridled communication, freedom of speech, and expression. However, this pandemic also shows us how digital spaces can have severe um, can have positive effects as well as severe negative effects when combined with social distancing and social isolation. While the positive effects usually include abundant number of e-resources and awareness when it comes to different social media platforms and resources that can help students cope with their studies. And it also includes the mental health awareness drive that is going on in social media these days, with individuals uh, presenting posts that are supportive, helpful, and reduces the stigma around mental health. Also, there are individuals and content creators on social media that try to model a healthier lifestyle, especially in this time of social isolation and while the pandemic is going on, where we need to invest more on our physical and mental health. However, the regular negatives of the social media platforms and internet in general, like bullying and trolling, are also on a rise. And researchers, according to researchers, psychological researchers, they say that it is due to social disinhibition effect, which means that we are more likely to commit deviant behaviors when we are in front of our when we are on the other side of the screen as opposed to in person. um, so there are a lot of aspects when it comes to social media use and uh, digital health, and all these factors need to be considered for future research and interventions uh, to benefit both younger generations who are most susceptible to the negative effects of social media, as well
Okay,
as
thank
older
you.
generations.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you.
Kritika, that's okay. So, since we were talking about social media and this pandemic, so we have seen that you also told that a lot many people are moving to the social spaces, and we are also coming with the concept of virtual identity, or living in virtual world also. So do you think any not the disadvantages of being there, but do you think any advantage which we can get through that virtual living or living in virtual space?
Surely, sir. I was just speaking about social disinhibition effect, which comes with anonymity on social media spaces and on the internet in general. But this provision of being anonymous was actually when being baked into the system of social media and the internet, was actually supposed to be used to give individuals the freedom and to remove the social pressure which comes with their like identities, and to be to raise their voices against any wrongdoing that they see, or even express opinions that they feel they would be judged for. So this anonymity also provides sort of uh, it makes the internet more democratic. Yeah.
Yep. So the use of psychology, or why do we study psychology, that have lot many reasons, you know, and that lot many applications that we can find uh, for the application of psychology. So can you tell me some of the negative application that we had seen that someone used psychology in very negative way, and
Yes, sir.
did something bad to the people, or society? Can you exemplify that?
Yeah. So, as we can see, as we are following news all over the world, we are looking at a drastic shift towards the right wing politics, and like hardcore right wing politics. And a lot of times it's because of psychological factors. And I think leaders and politicians are smart enough to judge that, I feel. So, and especially in, if I give the example of our current government, the sort of policies and sort of decisions that they are making, a lot of us feel that accountability is missing. So I think that is due to a phenomenon called groupthink. It's a psychological phenomenon in which individuals belonging to highly cohesive groups are likely to go with the majoritarian view, just to just to maintain that cohesiveness, just to prevent themselves from being judged if they present a counter opinion. So group think usually means that the decisions that are being made are very radical, or they are, even if they're incorrect decisions, and even if there are
Do you think
kind of hard proofs.
there is a psychology based strategy in it, or they are doing just what they want to do, and all this mobilization or
Hmm.
uh, that what we say radicalization is happening by itself?
So this group thing sort of happens by itself because of our biases to go with the, we kind of we are all social creatures. We never want social exclusion. So group think is kind of a product of that. But when it comes to radicalization, or not radicalization, when it comes to people moving towards more hardcore ideologies, I believe the leaders who are doing it are sort of aware. This is called scapegoating hypothesis, in which they sort of blame all minorities in basically the other, the out group, for all the problems of the in group. So if they scapegoat the minorities and they make people hate them, then they will never be questioned, and all the questionable things they are doing will kind of go unnoticed.
Okay. So you think that political people or political party are smart enough to use psychology
Yeah,
in order to take advantage of what matlab, for their political will and whatever the future they wish for.
yeah,
So why can't we use the same in term of matlab, like making things right? So it is. Matlab, I just want to know that what's your opinion? Like all the things, all the harmony that we have or we can have, basically we tends to be or tends to go for chaos, and the
yeah,
only way that we can use psychology is to prompt the speed of chaos, or we can also reverse, we can have a reverse effect of that, whether we can again go back to the although matlab, we have never been in a stable stage ever. So do you think that it can be used in creating harmony or peace, or everything liberal in
yeah,
that sense?
yeah,
So
sure.
do you have any example for that?
So first of all, I believe that all these are like, for example, groupthink or ability to scapegoat. These are all preying on our cognitive biases. We all have them. Even people who are flat earthers or they are anti-vaxxers, they all they believe in these things because for them it is very obvious, because they fall prey to their cognitive biases, their cognitive shortcomings, loopholes. So I believe education is very important. If we kind of facilitate the understanding that these cognitive loopholes, cognitive shortfalls exist, and we can like tackle them, that will be great. Because then sort of uh, it's not as automatic. There's a sort of forethought that comes with it. And when it comes to peace, I think psychology can be used to harbor peace, because especially in theories of conflict resolution, we see that even if we, that first of all, this division between us versus them, it is sort of hardwired because of our evolution, because that is how we've survived for so long, being in groups which compete for resources. But in our civil society, what we can do is directly address the us versus them mentality, the prejudices that come with it, and establish contact and group activities, or working for like superordinate goals, that is goals that are beneficial for both the parties, is important. For example, there was this very good initiative called Aman Ki Asha that was ongoing with Pakistan before things kind of went downhill. That was a very good initiative to establish contact between our two nations and sort of work on goals that would benefit both of our nations.
Aman ki Asa, I suppose that was a try that government was doing that,
Hmm.
but there was no psychological strategy behind it. Matlab, if I'll ask you to create a psychological strategy or psychology based strategy or policy to bring that peace and harmony, in what way you'll think? Let's suppose we are creating a government, and then how
Hmm.
we'll go ahead to get the
Um,
peace or the harmony, or in whatever way you see the society, you want to see the society.
I think, first of all, all these divisions are also fostered by socio-economic, political inequality.
Hmm.
So, as a government, definitely I would earlier work on that. That the the community that is feeling that it is being persecuted or is unequal, being discriminated against, they are kind of upheld. They are given more political representation, and are given education and
So you want more
opportunities for
reservation.
economic growth. Yeah, but also in psychological point of view, I think it
So
can be
doesn't
applied at school.
reservation also makes them unequal? So any
Reservation.
hmm?
Uh, so
So having
reservation.
priority or having some kind of special rights, is making people unequal. So how come reservation is a solution for inequality?
So the current system of reservation, I don't know how justified that is, because our politicians use reservations increasingly for vote bank politics. So I don't know about that, but I kind of sort of understand the underlying concept, the foundation of it, that if there is social inequality, social injustice, and it's been going on for centuries, then there needs to be some sort of bridge, some sort of tool that kind of creates a level playing field.
So, but
Um,
level playing field cannot be created by giving reservations. So it can be created by more training, more resource, providing more resources, not by giving that prominent role and education, which can be, like people were saying, and lot many people argue in a way that reservation can bring a low quality or bad quality
yeah.
resource in the system.
Hmm.
So what about that? Matlab?
So only reservation is definitely not the solution. I mean, the reservation is to pull in people, who belong to a marginalized section of society, who do not have the resources to be at that platform, to get them on that platform. There they need to definitely show their own merit.
Okay.
So I don't believe that reservation should be in like promotions
Okay,
or like
so matlab
jobs.
basically we expect this from a government or whosoever is the ruling party. So have you ever seen that any individual has used the reservation to pull in someone who is not equal to him, or any
I
family
Yeah.
which has done this kind of thing? So
So
have you seen anything like that?
like I do have an example of this. Like, I mean, at school,
Hmm.
I had a classmate who was very much, we all thought that he belonged to a well-to-do family, which he did. He was financially stable,
Hmm.
and everything was like fine. But at the end of class 12th, we realized that he belonged to the reserve category, and he got into an amazing college with so little marks that yeah, that it does definitely stings. But that one seat, getting that one seat, and he got that on in like unfair basis, that cannot be used to rule out the entire concept of reservation that brings people from really backward areas.
Okay. So what's your objective for this course? Like you have studied BA Psychology honors from which college?
Yes. It's Shama Prasad Mukherjee College, Diu.
Okay. So I'll ask two things to you. But the first, what was your experience of learning psychology at your graduation level first? And the second, what kind of study or even go to test Mumbai? What kind of study you would like to pursue ahead? So
Mhm.
will there be any specific orientation or you'll be learning whatever you'll be getting uh, in your
Okay.
curriculum?
Hmm. So, to answer the first part of your question, which was what I studied at my graduate level, first of all, since like class 11th, I was like very fascinated with the subject. So I definitely knew I wanted to pursue that. To like to So graduation for me was like I was testing the subject out to see if I have the passion for it, if it's my calling.
So you are
And
not very confident in 12th class that psychology
uh,
might be the future career option for you.
so I was very sort of interested in biology also, in
Okay.
chemistry also. So psychology, and psychology definitely has a biological basis. So that also was very intriguing to me. But in bachelor's, I just wanted to see if it's my calling, if it's my passion. So in bachelor's, I've studied a lot of subjects in psychology. I mean, it is the syllabus is standard, but it gave me an understanding of various subfields of psychology. And for example, there was general psychology, then there was research methodology, counseling psychology, industrial psychology, health psychology, and so it really gave me an understanding of the entire field. And I did applied psychology, so I also got the opportunity to participate in a lot of practicals. So I conducted personality tests, intelligence tests. We also tried illusions, like we used the apparatus and we sort of saw how illusions work. And I also did like qualitative and quantitative research on topics that interests me and topics that were socially relevant. So so that really gave me a feel of the entire subject and the field. And I am very confident that I want to pursue a career as a mental health professional. So at this, I so from this, what I want is I'm very glad that it also has a very holistic kind of a curriculum. It will give me exposure to different psychotherapeutic modalities. And in particular, what I want to, my aspirations, you can say, from the course is that I want to establish my own style of therapy and counseling to work with children, adolescents, and family units to sort of address issues surrounding with trauma, abuse, aggression, substance abuse. So I'm very glad that this has such disciplinary electives like family therapy and substance abuse and trauma therapy that would really give me a greater understanding of what of the concepts that I want to delve deep into.
Okay. So you were talking about the research that you did at very at a qualitative level and quantitative research also. So what tool did you use for quantitative research that you did?
So quantitative research, we usually use like a parametric test like Ttest.
Hmm.
And yeah, so for example, we try to understand the levels of job satisfaction in government versus public school teachers. So in that, we use the T-test to understand. We formulated questionnaire. Actually, we used a questionnaire. And job satisfaction scale, and we circulated it via the Google
So
form.
which questionnaire
And
did you use?
job satisfaction scale,
Which has been made by created by.
I'm totally blanking out the name, sir.
So, okay.
but yeah,
So
yeah.
you use that
Uh, hmm.
snare, and what is the just like did you check the reliability or validity of that?
So the reliability and since it's a standardized test,
Hmm.
reliability and
Has it been
validity.
converted for the Indian context or
Uh, Yes, yes, I believe our teacher specifically selected a test that was more relevant to the Indian context, and it had
Hmm.
good reliability, validity, cronback alpha reliability, which was pretty standard, and yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you use T-test.
Hmm.
So how, why, and how T-test is used?
So, T-test is basically used to understand if there is a statistically significant difference in the responses of two groups, or it also can be one group on different sort of tests. But we used one test on two different groups, so that means that we are trying to understand uh, the score, the raw score that the score that we got from the test was sort of it is not the results were not due to chance. So t-test kind of is a it helps us establish statistical significance.
Okay, so was the test one tail or two tail?
It was a two-tailed test because it was of independent sample t-test, two-tailed test.
Okay. So also can you also tell me what is jet test?
Uh, yes, Z test is Z test, P test. These are all. Uh, I'm no,
Okay.
I know what it is, but I don't think I can explain it because I
Okay.
haven't, yeah,
Okay.
worked with it.
Can you tell me about sampling error?
Yeah. So sampling error is when the sample is not representative of the population. So it can be yeah. So sampling error should be avoided so that the results can be generalized onto the population.
No, matlab like sampling error has a very mathematical meaning in it. Of course, it represents the error, but every sample that you create, if it is not population, there must be a sampling error in it. So there's a mathematical
Okay.
calculation behind
Hmm.
sampling error. So have you read that?
I must have, but I'm honestly, yeah, I need to revise that. My research methodology and stats is not very polished at this moment.
Okay. So you were telling about that you want to create your own style, or do you want to work with your own style in order
Hmm.
to treat people who have been matlab, adolescents and children and family, and for different their problems. So
Hmm.
what is the problem with other people's style, or isn't there a regular way to do it,
Okay.
and there
Yeah.
is always scope of creativity there also.
Hmm. Yeah, so when I say style, maybe I can like frame it better. I just mean that I believe in integrated therapy, which is that there is definitely place for very popular sort of uh, uh, psychotherapeutic techniques and psychotherapeutic approaches like CBT, REBT, BT, behavioral techniques. They are widely used. They have huge applications in various sort of behavioral issues and psychological disorders. But I feel that I would love to be receptive to the all the other techniques that are not as popular, not as readily used, like existential therapy, a person-centered therapy, then many of those kind, which is also I'm very thankful that it is part of the curriculum. So that will give me the greater understanding of these therapeutic approaches. I just feel that I want to create a balance in my approach. So I want to create a balance between directiveness, non-directiveness, focusing on the present or the past, and in general, building a therapeutic alliance. These are all positive aspects of other therapies that can be easily integrated with CBT or REBT and can be applied to, or can be these approaches can be tailored for individuals, and it can have greater efficacy when it comes to the therapeutic process. So that is very appealing to me.
Okay. So let's have one last applied question. So you consider me as a teacher for people who have uh, cleared their graduation and uh, are in graduation, and I am teaching them for different competitive exams. Okay.
Hmm.
So it's my profile. Okay. So I want that my students should be very sincere about the classes, should be motivated for their career, and we try to do it by different means like uh, keeping classes for motivation, and we try to keep our classes interactive also. So can you suggest me any psychological way by which I can deal the sometimes what we feel that anything happens in their life, the first thing they lose is the classes, the first thing they lose
Mm.
people is their career goals and their objectivity of their studies. So if I want to deal with this problem, what psychological based model you would like to suggest me?
Um, there are,
One more minute. This is
yeah.
a question for all those people who have studied psychology or studying psychology, and I think few people are there also. आप लोग सब सोच के रखो और बताओ इसको. चलो, लास्ट यू कैन कंप्लीट योर आंसर.
Okay, so okay, so I think there are several theories on motivation, on on
So
how.
I don't want theory. You make me a model. You
Oh.
suggest me a model that this is the way you can use psychology, and
Mhm.
it may be effective, more effective than what you have been using by your own logic or.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So okay, if we okay, so this is the reason I want to get into this, because I think I have a lot of like theoretical background and I would love to apply. So this is something that I'm
Hmm.
interested in. So I think taking from self-determination theory and like goal setting theory, I think that if you create an environment in which you create a community of sorts in which individual sort of feels like their relatedness needs and the need for belonging is basically being completed. So it's like if you create a sort of trusting environment and you are um, you model behaviors of trust. uh, I think individuals would be more they'll be more comfortable with sharing what is going on with their life. So, for example, you said that anything that goes wrong with their life, classes get missed. So, if you create an environment where where the focus is not only on competence, that is the course that you're teaching, but also on the need for belonging and need for relatedness, then I think the the community would be fostered in a way that individuals are just more keen to share their problems or share with the adversity that they're feeling, instead of just shutting down or not attending classes. I think this is one way that you can structure it.
Okay. So, matlab, you can think again, or later
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
send me,
yeah.
and we can create a model for that. Okay. So
Mhm.
anything which is feasible in term of implementation.
Yeah, I would love to
So,
think more about
uh,
it.
so I'll also be asking one last question. But this was the last question, but I'll have one more. Can you tell me the impact of pandemic on teacher in terms of their mental health? Basically, school teachers.
Um, okay, so I think that school teachers are the most underappreciated. They're part of the most underappreciated professionals and profession career ever, and this has only increased in the pandemic with kind of parents feel that since the child used to go to school and instead is just staying at home, it's again entirely a teacher's responsibility to raise their own child. which is incorrect. So I feel, because of the pandemic, teachers are no longer teaching, they are also doing a lot of other administrative tasks, which is just more stress. And when we did that study on life satisfaction and life satisfaction, job satisfaction of teachers, so a lot of private public school teachers mentioned in their responses that there was a lot of role confusion. They have a lot of different roles and they are expected to complete all of them instead of having clear, well defined roles with the same pay. They are not getting paid extra. So a lot of stress is also generated. And also I feel that so many teachers are themselves dealing with, especially if we say school teachers, I'm not aware of the data, but Delhi University teachers have been severely hit by the pandemic themselves. So they are not only taking care of their work responsibilities. A lot of times most teachers are women, so they also take care of the household responsibilities. They are also helping patients of COVID. So that just means that they can feel sometimes inadequate, and which can lead to anxiety issues. I would love to kind of read more about the impact of the
Okay, चलो
pandemic on
फिर ठीक है.
teachers from a, okay,
चलो,
yeah,
thank you.
thank you.
So as far as your extempore interview, both are equally good. है ना? Interviews में somehow कोई problem तो नहीं थी, but you lack using psychological terms
Terms.
and theories, है ना? तो जब आपको उस पर्सपेक्टिव से कभी पूछा जाए, तो वही बताना बेटर होता है. मतलब उसी टर्मिनोलॉजीज में, इवन अगर फार फेच्ड भी हो तब भी चलेगा. मतलब like if I'm asking from a philosophy student, if I'm asking from a literature student, if they can tell the same thing. So if you are not the one who is using jargon, psychology based, then who will? So somehow you have to relate with whatever theory you have, whatever concept you have. So वो थोड़ा better होता है then, है ना? तो बाकी marks वगैरह तो almost वही है. I try to give everywhere almost same, you get of everywhere same. तो 75 प्लस के आसपास एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हो यहाँ पे, मतलब 75 to 80 के बीच में. ठीक है, एक मिनट.